Hello.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, yeah.
Welcome back. This is Nicardo Media House, and I'm here with my special guest Tyler from T Boys TV. He's a Luton Town fan, and they're going up to the Premier League next season. It's been buzzing down there since the last couple of weeks, right, Tyler?
Yeah, it still hasn't sunk in yet. For me, and I know a lot of the Luton fans are the same. Until the fixture list is actually out, that's when we'll start to believe that we're really here. It's just crazy. We knew it was going to happen at some point as Luton fans. Most of us knew this rise was coming,
Uh-huh.
but maybe quicker than a lot of us thought. But it's just it's absolutely phenomenal.
All right, man. Look, Tyler, I really appreciate you to come on the Panda Corner podcast. So if you don't understand the term Panda Corner, it's like you on the ends. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
on the yeah. So it's literally like in a Jamaican terms, Panda Corner. So yeah, so
nice.
that's the podcast name. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, bro. Thanks for accepting the request. I really appreciate it. It's almost midnight up there in UK. So yeah, man, you could tell the people them what is T Boys TV.
Yeah, so T Boys TV, obviously a channel I made. Originally, I was actually doing other vlogs on something else, but obviously I put most of them videos into private now, and I thought, I'd expand it a little bit, do, more football people predominantly watch. Started doing a lot of Premier League stuff. I have a little bit of a following with Liverpool as well due to family, but more so Luton now. It's predominantly the thing I do. But yeah, just vlogs mainly, previews, do a show with my dad talking about
Uh-huh.
Luton, usually the previous game, usually going into the next game. And obviously with the summer, obviously season done, I'm sure we'll be doing one weekly, going into transfer news and what's going on at the club in the summer, etc. Stuff like that, really. So, yeah, just stuff like that. Sometimes watch alongs as well when I don't go to the games. So yeah, predominantly Luton stuff, but I do others on the side as well.
So how long ago you created this YouTube channel, T Boys TV?
Uh, actually, no, doing what I do now. Probably, I think it was around about a year or two ago. I want to say now. Previous stuff previously,
Uh-huh.
good 3 or 4 years, I'd say. Because before, so basically, what I done before, I stopped doing it. But
Yeah.
I think I had over 100 subscribers at that time, and then I just, like I said, I started doing football more. More people would know Premier League, etc.,
Yeah.
Championship, and
Yeah.
then yeah, that's where this channel's gone up from there really. So yeah, good few years.
Yeah, man. So you told me earlier you're not directly from in Luton. Where are you from? You said like 15 minutes away.
Yeah, so just nearby. See, it's a town very not far away. There is a few
What's the
fans.
town name? What's the name of the town?
It's called Hemel Hempstead. Don't
Mm.
know if you've ever heard of it, but
No,
yeah,
I never heard of it. I never heard of
yeah.
it.
There's
Uh,
a few hatters here. I see a few hatters here. You know what I mean? So it's all good. At least I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
so at what age you supported Luton Town? You started to
uh,
support Luton.
I don't know specifically. I know I was very young. I remember there was a moment when I said I was stopped supporting them. So basically, I was younger, and obviously, I'm a young kid at the time, and we lost on a penalty shootout. I can't remember, it was 2. Funny enough, that was in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
And I said to my dad, my dad was like, he told me, obviously, I weren't really into football then, but obviously, I wanted to hear that they were doing well. He said they lost, and as a kid, I went, well, I'm not supporting them anymore. So yeah, that happened. But I don't know. I'd want to say, I don't know, maybe 9 years old. Like,
Was that because of your mom and dad?
yeah, just mainly my dad really. Mum's not really into football, but mainly my dad. Like I say, obviously he was born in Luton. Obviously
Uh,
his family, his mum was as well. So, like I said, it's very near to us, and I, usually follow who your dad supports, don't you? Usually, so
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just one of
Yeah.
them really for me with Luton. So.
Did you like follow any teams in the Prem?
Like I said, I had that little, that little look on Liverpool as well because I
Liverpool.
had found my dad's dad was actually a Liverpool fan who I unfortunately never got to see. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
So I keep that eye on them, and I I
Yeah.
want them to do well, but I'm predominantly more Luton because obviously I'm closer, and I feel like I've got that bond with Luton in that sense. Going to the games, and especially doing this channel as well. Now, what I notice is a lot more people reach out and obviously show support on the channel, of course, and a lot of people help me out with tickets. When I'm struggling, so massive shout out to them. And I know a few people, not necessarily inside the club, but I know a few stewards that are at the games and that they actually come up to me once and said, "Oh, T Boys TV, I watch your stuff." So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty boss.
What's the mom and dad they're a season pass holder for Luton Town?
What's that? Sorry.
Your mom and dad is a season pass ticket holder for Luton Town?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. But like I say, I know a few people that have actually managed. I'm going to shout this one person out now. Shout out to Alex, who's actually really helped me,
Yeah.
get tickets over the years. I think he's got like 6.
How difficult it is to get a ticket, especially at a home game?
It's coming onto the later stages of the season with how well we were doing. It was obviously very difficult. Before that, I wouldn't say it was difficult in a sense. There was still, the odd maybe 100 seats.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit of a picky one. Away games, I'm not really fussed because most of the time we just stand up and you're anywhere sort of thing. But the home games, obviously I love our ground, but one thing that does annoy me about them is the poles and that sort of thing. So I like to be in an area where I can see the whole game or at least see most of it. And a lot of people stand up and it's a little bit annoying, halfway through games and that. So
yeah,
it's one of them. It's easy, towards the start of the season, but then as we've just progressed on being better, it's gotten harder. So
what's the price like for the cheapest ticket to go to a Luton Town home game? How many pounds?
Cheapest. If you're just talking in general, even if you're talking for
in
kids
general,
or just me predominantly. In general,
like general, not kids ticket, like general, adults tickets.
I'd say probably 15, 16 quid, I would say.
That's kind of cheap over here watching the MLS, the American Soccer League. It's kind of cheap. When I used to pay like 30, 40 US dollars for like a home ticket, a single ticket. But then the cost for like a home season pass is like 400 US dollars, like that, for like just home games. And they paid like 20 something home games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 15 quid is it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. So are you planning to get a season pass for the Premier League season?
Yeah, I don't. Well, this season this upcoming season, shall I say, it probably will be a bit difficult. Because obviously,
tickets are on sale. Tickets not on sale yet, right?
Nah. Obviously, there's a massive queue anyway. Even before we got promotion to the Premier League, there was a massive queue of people already doing it. Obviously, we're waiting for our new stadium, which won't be anytime soon. It'll be a good few years, but when that comes, hopefully I'll be able to put in a request before then, because obviously I think that's going to be nearly 20,000, just under. I think like 17,000 or something. So hopefully that'll be a bit easier for me when it comes to that. So I will put in one at some point, but it's going to be unlikely that it'll be coming up because there'll just be people well ahead of me anyway. So it's one of them.
So Luton Town fans, their nickname is the Hatters. That's how you pronounce it?
Yeah, correct.
Give me one word you describe Luton Town fans.
One word to describe Luton fans. Loyal. Yeah.
I could see. I seen that because when you guys drop down to the National League, come back up to League Two, and all those struggles in the playoffs and stuff like that, just to come back up to championship is just real loyalty, man. Keep supporting the teams, and stuff like that. I really like that a lot about Luton Town fans over the years. I follow the story and the history of this club, actually, especially when you guys won that um the championship back in what 81-82 season, all the way back.
Yeah.
That coach was what, Peel? That's what his name?
Yeah, I mean, I can't exactly remember, but obviously what I've heard and stuff like that, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
David Platt. I think that's his name,
Yeah,
David Platt.
David Pleat. Yes,
David
yes,
Platt, yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yes,
I hear
David
that name
Platt.
all the
So
time. Yeah,
yeah, man. So yeah, I always noticed that about Luton Town. There's always some loyal fans and stuff like that. But look, the starting of the championship season back in August, you guys' expectation was to go to the Premier League or just to make the playoffs and then make a push from there?
I would say make the playoffs, and make the push. A lot of us as Luton fans, obviously neutrals, didn't think so, but what I said at the start of the season, I know a lot of Luton fans would have said it as well, was playoffs and try and win them. Obviously we got playoffs last season as well, as we know, falling short. But, for me, we had our reasons. This season, we just upgraded, especially up front, which I feel was a massive boost, which was needed. We were very reliant on Averioreidreid last season,
Yeah.
but now obviously bringing in the Morrises, Woodrow, who's not done what we would have expected. Hasn't done terrible, but hasn't done as good as we know he can, sort of thing. But just bringing in that squad depth, I think, really helped attacking wise. Because I felt, we were very reliant on Elijah, like I said. And in that second leg last season against Huddersfield, you saw that. When he
Yeah.
come on, he couldn't even walk, but we felt we had to bring him on because how well he was doing. So, yeah, my expectation was fourth and actually win the playoffs. So I weren't actually far off. So, yeah, most
Did
of us
you
would have
did
said
you
at least
did
playoffs.
did you thought Vincent Company would done a fantastic job like that at Burnley in the first season of the championship and turn around how they play and how they approach a game in a different, Burnley's a more physical style of playing when Sean Dice was there, but Vincent Company flip everything, start to play the way how Manchester City play the ball on the surface and stuff like that. Did you guys ever seen that coming in the championship?
I thought personally Burnley would do well. I said they'd actually get top two. I had them second, and obviously they won the league. So I knew they'd be up there. A lot of people put them lower because, it was a complete different turnaround. It's their first season down in a while. But I just thought, they'd have a good season. They still managed to keep a lot of good players, especially Brownhill, very good midfielder, especially for the championship. Obviously he scored against Luton in the game at their ground as well. So,
And
yeah,
the
I thought they'd
striker,
be up
Barnes,
there.
experience
Barnes as well. Yeah,
striker Barnes,
exactly.
yeah, experience.
And then even players they managed to get on loan, like your Tellers, from Southampton. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The start of the season for Luton Town, right? Before that, the World Cup, you guys have a lot of blips. Started the season poor and stuff like that. What you guys were thinking?
I don't. At the time, I was just like, "What is going on?" Especially at home. I think last season in the league, we only lost 4 games at home. The whole season. So I was just thinking, "What is going on?" Certain games, it made sense why we lost them. Obviously, we had Nathan Jones at the time. I'm one of them. I always respect Nathan Jones for what he done. People call him a snake. I don't agree with it. You're not going to turn down going to a Premier League club. At the time in Southampton. So it's one of them. People talk about the Stoke move as well. Again, for me, they had, experienced Premier League players at the time. You're not going to turn that down. A fairly big club as well. But yeah, massive respect to him. But I think in certain games, the way we were playing just wasn't working. We were playing a lot of long balls and it just wasn't working. I remember when we played Wigan at home, like they're, no offence to them, but they're terrible. They've obviously finished bottom of the league. I know they've got points deduction, but their team's not good enough for the championship anyway. And we lost that game at home to him. It wasn't good enough. We had no midfield. I don't know what he done. We had no midfield for like 10 minutes. and then Wigan just punished us. And there were certain games like that which weren't good enough. I remember we lost to Preston. Yeah, it just wasn't good enough. I just don't know what was going on. I still felt we were gonna end up in the playoffs anyway because how good our away form was. Obviously we were second best in the end when it comes to away form in the league. So I was still confident in that sense. We just needed to sort out our home form, and we could have potentially, it's crazy me saying this because we finished third, but we could potentially even finish higher. So if our home form kicked on at the start, but I wasn't overly nervous, but at the time I was thinking, what is going on?
Yeah, man. So on November the 10th, Southampton came in and snatched Nathan Jones. Obviously a lot of Luton Town fans probably doubt that we ain't going to make the playoffs anymore, and you guys was actually a little bit outside of the playoff spot. What was the feeling around the ground at that time when Nathan Jones left for the Prem?
At the time, I was gutted because I knew, as soon as I saw he was the number one target, I knew he was going to go there. It was just obvious. I think before that he was linked with Brighton, but he wasn't the number one option. Obviously, it's De Zerbi who they've got now. So I was thinking, he's had that link. He's been a coach there before, but this one, like I said, he was the main priority. So I was like, yeah, he's going to go. I was gutted. Because obviously he tried coming back and, obviously, got a lot of heat when he left. And understandably, because of the way he left, for me, it wasn't necessarily because who he's left to go to. It was more the way he left. It was a bit, not great, basically. But, when he's come in, come back, he done well. He tried to get us, back to the Premier League. So I was gutted at the time. But, I think a lot of people were 50-50. A lot of people were like, yeah, right, let's get rid of him. We see the games, they weren't working. When it, like I said earlier, when he was trying to play long balls and certain decisions were not right. In a lot of Luton fans' opinions, including myself, especially as much as he's not been bad there under the new manager at times. But when, Woodrow's been playing as a cam, he's actually a striker. Stuff like that. I just didn't really understand it. But yeah, I was gutted, but I felt we would capitalise on it in some way because we always recruit well and make sure we get the right person in, or players, whoever it is. And if it's not, we'll, they won't be playing for us much longer, sort of thing. So, yeah. I was gutted, but I knew we were still going to do all right.
So on November the 17th, you guys took Robert Edwards from your biggest rival, Watford.
Yeah.
Was there an uproar around the stadium or around in the community about taking your biggest rival manager?
I think at a lot of time, when it first come about, I remember doing the show with my dad, and we were saying, about, we were talking about managers, and we was thinking, really, because of the Watford link. But then a lot of people were just looking at that. They wasn't actually taking into account what he done. He done the jump up, the high rise. So Watford, as much as we know what they're like with managers, they clearly saw something in him by, bringing him from League Two. When we obviously looked at managers, we wanted a young manager. Obviously, he is a young manager. So, when we all first looked at it, we was thinking, what are we doing? But then when you think about it more, what he actually done with Forest Green, pretty impressive. You've seen how poor they've been since he's left. They're just down in the dumps. So when I looked into it a bit more, I was like, okay, I'll start to be on board with this. And the recruitment team, whether it's players or managers, like I said, tend to get it right most of the time. So I was happy when I looked more into it, to be honest.
Oh, so January, the transfer season reopened after the World Cup break finished, and you guys made a couple loan signings with Nakamba, Joe Taylor, Jack Walton, Cody Drame, and all of those guys comes in. I think one guy you guys bought, it was Joe Taylor, right? You guys bought him.
Yeah, brought Joe Taylor.
And the rest of them were the signings were on loan signings, right?
Yeah, Nakamba. I think Walton might be permanently, but the others, yeah, they're loans. Nakamba and Drame, yeah.
obviously those signings were massive for the club at that time, especially Nakamba. You guys been shouting out for a real vibration stadium in the middle of the park. Someone that would just take the game by the
Yeah.
scruff of the neck and just push the team forward. And I see that as a big, big transfer. When I saw the news, I was like shocked, like Nakamba is going down. Going down to the championship, I was expecting, okay, Burnley, like a Norwich City, like, those big names in the champion. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting Luton Town, but obviously you guys make that one work and you see, promoted to the Prem, man. What you guys think of those signings? What you did for the season for Luton Town?
Oh, the Campbell was brilliant. When we signed him, I was buzzing. He had two little games which I said weren't as great, but predominantly he was brilliant. You could see his Premier League quality. The way he was just steadying the ship, really. When it comes to just being tight in front of that defence, winning everything. You could just see his quality was there. Drame, again, he was really good. Again, you can see his Premier League quality. And he's still quite young. So he's got a lot of potential, and he could become a really good player. And it's been brilliant. They've been trusting. Hopefully, obviously there's a lot of rumours with Drame, obviously linked to us and Burnley, obviously coming back potentially to us or going to Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
If we could get him, that'd be great. It's going to be interesting. And Nakamba, I think we've got a very good chance of getting him, to be honest, especially if Villa now being in Europe. Obviously the Conference League, I don't really think they'll be looking to get him. And the thing with these two players as well is if they do come to us, they are guaranteed first team football. So yeah, that's how I see it. But they've both been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So right after those signings made, obviously those signings were like the last week of the transfer window and stuff like that. What happened? Did you guys kick on, or there's still a little blip until these guys settle in?
We just kicked on, really. I think we were, I think we only lost one game maybe after that, or maybe a little bit more. But there's the only one I can think of was Burnley, and that was there was no shame in that because it's Burnley. And to be fair, I remember a lot of their fans saying after that game, as much as they won, that was probably their toughest game of the season. And we should have got a draw in that. I thought their goal was a bit controversial, not necessarily the penalty, but more so, the free kick they got before the penalty. I just don't think it was. But at the end of the day, I wasn't too disheartened because our performance was there. And then, from there on in, we just kicked in. There was a bit of a dodgy draw midweek to Preston, but sometimes you can have them sort of games, especially midweek. Sometimes with a quick turnaround away from home as well. It was one of them. I remember Nakamba, that was probably the only rare, not so great moment he had, where he lost the ball and it nearly cost us. But I don't think that was necessarily him. I just think that was more so because the Championship's more physical and you can't always have that time on the ball like you can in the Premier League. Like Premier League, see a lot of teams pass the ball around. I think it was just one of them, and he just thought, you could chill a little bit, but after that, he was phenomenal.
Yeah. So, Championship season finish, Sunderland, the big one, made it 13. You guys played Sunderland, went away and lost 2-1. Did you guys ever think you guys was going to turn it around back in the second leg?
I mean, at the time, I remember saying on my channel, if we don't win, because I said the exact same thing last year, but I think that was different circumstances because, Huddersfield finished third last season. We finished sixth. I said if we don't win, if we lose the first game, I think we'll, go out. But then I thought, you know what? After the way we lost that game, as much as we were pretty poor, I just thought second leg, being at Kenilworth Road, ever since that Blackburn game, taking out that Burnley loss at home. But again, that's Burnley, like I said, we just kicked on. So I just felt, we're going to prove ourselves. I think it's going to be a step too early for Sunderland because obviously they'd just come back up. Brilliant season they had, by the way, first season back. To even be in the playoffs was absolutely phenomenal. But I just thought, us being in there last season, having that experience, adding in on that squad depth, I just thought we would do it and bring it back. So the more I got closer to the game, the more I felt we were gonna do it. To be honest, So yeah.
So obviously you guys won the big games. You guys got to travel to London to face Coventry. That was I. No one in the town sleep, right? Yeah, I didn't sleep.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember a lot of
Did
people
you did
saying
you
to
went up
me,
did you went up overnight or you went on the game day?
I went on the game day. Yeah, I went on the game day.
Uh, but obviously some people go to London like
Yeah,
overnight. Yeah,
yeah,
I could see. But tell me, did you went to Wembley? Did you get a ticket?
yeah, yeah. I managed to get
You
a
got a
ticket.
you managed to get a ticket to go to Wembley. How was that experience? Was that your first time going to Wembley Stadium?
No, I've been quite a lot of times. Funny enough, I actually went when I was younger for Luton as well, in the St Johnson's Plate Trophy, which is
Uh-huh.
something usually the teams, I think it's from League One, lower down playing, and we actually won that as well. But I was young, so I weren't really. I remember apparently I cried when Luton scored because how loud it was. It weren't necessarily, because of
Yeah.
we scored. And obviously, like I said, I was younger. I wasn't really into football, so I was just there, sort of thing. But I've been there, and I've been there a few times for England. But yeah, no, obviously, I went to this one, and what an experience,
So
man!
during the game on the championship playoffs, Clark scored in the 23rd minute. What was running through your mind at that time? Did you see the prem or you were seeing like, oh, let's try to see this game out?
I was thinking this is going to be our day. I just felt it was going into it anyway. As much as a playoff final, it's 50-50. Coventry, massive shout out to them again for even being in the playoffs. Not a lot of people would have expected that. But I just felt it's our time. I felt it was really our time, especially as the playoff teams were announced. Especially it wasn't more so, straight after that Sunderland loss, for example, but it was more so as we got closer to the second leg. I just felt it was our time, especially if, Middlesbrough, they were failing to score. Everyone was thinking it would be a Middlesbrough Luton final or Middlesbrough Sunderland. That's what people were wanting predominantly. But I just felt it was our time. I really did. And it was weird, actually, the goal, Clark, because, when Elijah got the ball, he done phenomenal. I think there that just shows that he could play in the Premier League. The way he's controlled the ball, the way he's played the ball across. And Clark, he stepped up. He really did step up because I thought he wasn't great in the Sunderland games, both of them, especially the second one compared to everyone else. But he stepped up. He showed his quality, and it was just a brilliant finish. It was one of them where I don't know if you've ever had it when you're watching football, but when the ball's been played across and you just feel they're going to score, you
Yeah.
just don't feel they're going to miss, and that's exactly what it was for me there. So it was just I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be our day, definitely.
So, when Coventry stepped up double and he missed and Dan Pat's walking up to the spot, I was like, this got to be in because at the championship final, I was going for Luton Town, of what the club is all about, the history of the club, and I was like, they try and go to the Premier League so many times and they keep failing in the playoffs. So I was like, okay, Dan Pat's got to put this one in, and he did it, man. You guys went to the Prem, you know. But what was that feeling when Dabo missed that penalty kick?
Obviously, all of what I would like to say first, all of our penalties were absolutely phenomenal. Our manager said we were working on them just in case. It was good that he did anyway. And obviously, the recruitment team, the goalkeeper coach, everybody, that helped. It was a massive shout out to them as well. But when he missed, the weird thing is, again, I wish I got this on my vlog. I did say to my dad, I said to him, he's going to miss. He's going to miss. I just had that feeling as much as everyone else scored.
Yeah.
But when he's actually put it wide, I'm thinking, wow, we've actually done this. I got emotional.
I didn't expect Dabo to miss. I was expecting what's his name? Liam Kelly, the other
Oh
black
yeah,
player. I was looking at his face and I'm like, he looked really nervous. But
yeah.
then for someone he scored, and then I'm like, okay, Dabo got a score, but eventually he missed. But I was so gutted for Dabo because I didn't want at the time when he missed, I was like, okay, I hope you don't get any racial abuse and it, you black player and how stuff goes
Yeah.
in England, and so I was just hoping, people just take it as a miss and they go again. But Coventry had a really, really good season, and they have a really good team that can go all the way next season again. So man, let's hope they can do it. Because you see what happened last this season just passed with Huddersfield. They beat you guys, right? And go to the
Yeah,
final.
yeah, to beat
And
us, yeah.
and then they came like 18 in the league.
Yeah.
So you see, I hope they don't have that because that's massive from
Yeah.
playoffs final and then you finish like 18. That's massive. But yeah, it's really good to see Luton Town in the Premier League, and I can't wait to the fixtures to release because obviously I'm a Manchester United fan. So I want to see Manchester United go down in Luton Town. What's the name of the field? Kenilworth Road.
Kenilworth Road.
Yeah, especially like, I saw a video on TikTok when they showing the away fans going into Luton Stadium, and you could see in the back garden of the neighboring houses from the stadium, and I was like, that's weird. That is so weird. But talking about stadium, what's the best away stadium you ever went to? Is it in a championship, or what's the best away stadium you ever went to?
It's got to be the Championship. I haven't managed to go. I've been to Premier League grounds, but just not in away ends. So I don't know. I really like Blackburn Rovers one for some reason. I don't know if it's because it was my
Ewood
first
Park?
away. Yeah, Ewood Park. Yeah, that's it.
Why? Why you said Ewood Park?
I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily. I think it was more so because it was my first ever away game in the league.
Ah,
I don't know. I liked at the same
was
time
it
how
this
it was
season?
behind the goal.
It was a season just
Last
passed.
season. Last season.
Last season.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I like ones behind the goal predominantly.
Yeah.
I don't mind ones in the corner, but I prefer being behind the goal sort of thing. And yeah, the side ones, where the throwing lines are, like Wolves' ground, for example.
Hmm.
I don't think that's great. Do you know what I mean? So
I
yeah,
I think one of the weirdest away ground you could ever go to, as I see on TV, is when you go to up by St. James's Park. They put you guys
yeah.
all the way up. Like, come on.
So Sunderland's similar to that actually.
The Prem, do they have a rules that you got to be closer to the touchline?
I'm not too sure actually. Not too sure.
I always heard about that. Said the Premier League had a rule said that the away fans can't be too far away from the touchline.
All right.
But yeah, but Luton Town Stadium remind me as Blackpool when Blackpool come in the Premier League when they got Charlie Adams. You guys
Yeah.
stadiums is like it's really small, like
Yeah.
really really small. But what's the plans for Luton Town constructing a new stadium?
Uh, so they've had the go ahead. It's meant to be done. Well, not done, but it's meant to be. Started. A lot. Obviously quicker than it has been, but they've had the go ahead apparently. So yeah, hopefully, maybe next 3 years potentially.
Yeah. Mhm. Um, Going into the Premier League, where you guys think you need to strengthen more?
Strengthen. Well, see what we can do with these potential players like Nakamba. See if we can get him back. I think that's definitely one we should look at 100%. Goalkeeper as well. We could keep Ethan, I think I'm hearing, but I don't think we will. As much as I don't think he's as bad as others think, I think there's better we could get.
The American
Especially,
goalkeeper?
yeah, the American one, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Where is he? Where is he coming from? You guys loan him, right? It was a loan move,
yeah,
right?
Nottingham Forest. Nottingham
Nottingham Forest,
Forest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest. I, when he was playing over here in the MLS, they rate him highly, but I don't see him as a real good goalkeeper. Middlesbrough used to have a goalkeeper. I think his name is Stefan. He played in
Yeah.
Championship.
Yeah.
I think he's way better than Overt. That's his name, right? Overt.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Overt, they really overrate him in the MLS. American media and stuff like that always hype up their player, but he's not all. I don't think he will ever cut it in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's the
You
thing.
know,
And he's had a few mistakes this season as well.
yeah, he always had a few mistakes in him.
What's that? Sorry.
He always had a few mistakes in him, even when he's playing for the America team.
Yeah, and I don't want to look into it too much, but it is something people are mentioning, and they do have at a point. In the penalty shootout, he didn't save one penalty. He went the wrong way a lot of times. The opposite way. He got close to, I think, one or two, but yeah, he's, like I said.
I
don't think he's terrible, but I think we can get better.
I think Luton Town need a real shot stopper because you guys going to be a lot on the back foot in the Premier League. So you guys going to need. You think you guys can go for Keylor Navas?
I mean, if not on the Forest.
He saved Nottingham Forest.
Now, obviously, we won't be giving players ridiculous wages like Nottingham Forest, but we do have a bit of the budget now for the playoff final, so you never know. You know what I mean?
Nottingham Forest have they got the money. They could do it, But what did you guys link to any Premier League players?
Not that I'm aware of.
What's going on? What's going on with the transfer? What's going on with the transfer rumors around Luton Town?
All it is at this current moment in time is Drame, the player we've just had. Yeah, whether we will get him or Burnley. Personally, I think if Burnley are serious about trying to get an offer in for him, I think he'll probably go there. And the reason I say that is because, looking at it for him, he'll probably think they have more of a chance of staying up, which makes sense. I would probably say they do based on right now as well. I actually think they'll, even though transfers and that haven't been done yet, I've just got a feeling they'll do well next season, and could, potentially be near the top half. I don't know why. I just think they will. You look at this season, all the teams that came up, managed to stay up, didn't they? So you never know. And I think they could be that team next season that do well out of the three that come up, or do the best, shall I say. So, yeah.
So I had another game that we're gonna play. Did you know anything about Jamaica?
Not overly, not too much. All I know is that Amari Bell from Luton plays for them.
Yeah, Amari Bell is a Jamaican. Yeah, shout out to Amari Bell. Obviously, he's gonna play in the Gold Cup this season. So we will take care of him. Don't worry, no injuries.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, he's a good fullback. He could play right, left back too. So
yeah,
he got that energy, can go up and down. He could play in a back three, he could play in a back four. It doesn't matter. He could play on the wing if you guys using a 3-5-2. So yeah, he's a good utilized player. So I'm gonna ask you this question, right? Fish and chips or jerk chicken?
I'm gonna go fish and chips only because I haven't really had jerk chicken.
You never had jerk chicken before?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Do you have a Jamaican restaurant close by?
Not by me, but I know there is a few.
You need to check out a Jamaican restaurant and try that jerk chicken. Yeah. All right. So, underrated or overrated? Andrea Pirlo.
Ooh. I think he was a really good player, so I'm going to say underrated.
Yeah. Arsene Wenger. Underrated or overrated?
I think he's underrated, to be honest.
Because of that that league that he won unbeaten, that invincible. Yeah,
not even necessarily just that. I think the way he changed English football in certain senses. With playing styles and just the way he brought stuff there. I think obviously as it came later on, good things come to an end at some point, and that's what it was like for Arsenal. For his later stages, but to start off with, and most of his time, he was phenomenal for me.
So Wayne Rooney or Shearer? Alan Shearer.
Oh. That's a difficult one, that.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, man.
I didn't see as much of Shearer as I did Rooney. So based on that, I'm gonna say Rooney, but I know Shearer was really good. Levels.
Yeah, top player, top
Yeah.
player. Still leading goal scorer in the Prem. Top goal
Yeah.
scorer. Stevie G or Frank Lampard?
Oh, Stevie G, for me.
Stevie G. Yeah, the way, I mean, during his season at Liverpool, he played with like less quality players than what
Yeah.
Frank Lampard played at Chelsea, and he galvanized that team, especially in the 2005 Champions League. How he pushed that team up. But look, man, it's a pleasure talking to you, Tyler. Hope I have you back on the show on the Nicardo Media House. Is either we're gonna do on the Corner podcast show or we reviewing games, but hope to see you in the future again. Shout out to T Boys TV. They're gonna do massive stuff in the Prem on Luton Town. Hopefully they can stay up from the relegation and fight. It's gonna be a tough battle August coming. So I hope you guys have a really, really good preseason. Yeah. Do you want to shout out anything and tell my supporters about, what's coming to T Boys TV next season?
Yeah, just shout out to you for bringing me on. It's much appreciated, and I'll definitely, as long as you let me know, I'll definitely jump on again at some point. It's been good. But yeah, as for my channel, when it comes to content, it hasn't really been much at the moment because obviously the season's ending. I'm still trying to
Yeah.
sink in us actually being in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But there will be a stream on mine on Friday, talking about Luton, and next season is.
You will have a stream?
Yeah, on Friday, this coming Friday. Yeah, probably
What time?
6 p.m. Probably 6 p.m. if not 6:30.
6 p.m. UK time.
UK time. Yeah,
So that would be like lunchtime for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It will be live stream
yep. Live stream. Yep.
on
Yeah.
the T Boys TV, right?
Yeah.
Definitely looking out for that. I will check it in,
Thank
support.
you.
Yeah, definitely. But as I said, Tyler, man, thank you, bro. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
No problem.
So before I go, this is a Jamaican slang. When you meet a Jamaican, you say wagwan.
Yeah.
You
Oh
heard
yeah,
of
that's
that?
something I do know actually. Yeah, I could have said that.
Yeah, wagwan. So yeah, man, big up. So, bro, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night. I know it's like midnight right now in Luton. So, cheers, bro. Right.